Hello, my miraculous friend. This is Reverend Frances Fayden, and welcome to another episode of the Magnify Your Miracles podcast. Before we get into today's episode, let's take a few deep breaths together just to get ourselves grounded and centered and really letting ourselves become aware in this moment of the presence of the divine. If you are driving, please keep your eyes open, but you can still bring your awareness to your breathing. Breathing in the energy of expansion, breathing out anything that you no longer need, and allowing yourself to start to tune into the feeling and the awareness of the presence of the divine within you and surround you and supporting you in every moment. And knowing that whatever it is that you need to hear today, it will be exactly what it is. Let's take one more deep breath together in gratitude. And we can begin. All right, my miraculous friend, thank you so much for being here today. I wanted to share with you some insights, some thoughts that I have about Holy Week. This podcast will be coming out right smack in the middle of Holy Week. That is between Palm Sunday and Easter Sunday. If you didn't grow up in that tradition, it's perfectly fine. Don't worry about it. The things I'm telling you, I share with you as an interfaith minister, and I'm never asking you to believe what I believe. I'm just sharing some insights because I believe that the truth is the truth no matter which spiritual path you're on. And the journey of Christ during Holy Week is actually a universal energy. It's very much about the spiritual path. And right now, here on the planet, we are in very much kind of a Holy Saturday vibration. So I wanted to share a little bit about my insight about the metaphysical meaning of Holy Week and specifically of Holy Saturday, and hopefully give you some solace, give you some insight, give you some comfort so that you understand that this is really part of the spiritual path. It's just part of the process. So for those of you who don't know, Holy Week starts out with Palm Sunday, which is when Jesus goes into his triumphant return into Jerusalem, and he is welcomed. And people are jubilant and so happy. And it's very much how it is for us when we're new on the spiritual path. There's a lot of joy, there's a lot of enthusiasm. And then over time, it's up to us to keep our spiritual practices new and to really tap into those deeper truths. As the week goes on, though, things become more intense during this week for the Christ vibration. And he ends up saying and doing some things that start to upset people. He's no longer trying to appeal to the masses. He's now trying to really help the people who have been following him understand what comes very, very soon, what's laying ahead for them, which is a very, very intense time. And he wants them to be ready for it. So now he's starting to say things and do things that are a little bit more mystical and not as easy to understand. And so you really have to kind of look much more deeply at what's happening during Holy Week to understand what he's trying to help people to get ready for. But on Holy Thursday is a very pivotal point in his journey. It's very much a pivotal point in our own journey. This is the time where he gathers his closest disciples together. He gathers the 12 together, and they're there to celebrate Passover. They're there to celebrate the very sacred Passover Seder, that what we call that last meal, that last supper. And he's much more, he's grateful to be there with them, but he's also knows what's ahead for them and what's on the other side of it. And he's trying to teach them a little bit more about what to expect, but they really don't understand. This is the night that Judas goes and he lets the leaders of the political leaders at the time, he lets them know where they can find him because they're not happy with the fact that he has been challenging their authority, much like nowadays. Things don't really change very much. The political authorities are not happy with somebody coming and saying, hey, your authority is not with them, your authority is actually within you. And so that ruffled some feathers then, it ruffles some feathers now. And so they want to do away with him. They think he's a troublemaker and he is threatening their authority. Now, Judas at the time, he's got his own plan. And he's thinking, if I can just get Jesus to be in front of these political leaders. They'll see what I see and everything will turn out great. He's also thinking that he has designs of what he can do with the money that they're going to give him. And he lets himself be fooled into thinking that he knows better than his teacher, that he knows better than his guru. And that's something that I think all of us can fall into at some time, thinking that we might know better than our teachers. When you have a self-realized master like the Christ vibration, usually they know what they're talking about. And poor Judas, my heart goes out to him. He let himself fall in consciousness to think that he knew better and that his plan was actually better than God's plan. Well, it doesn't take long for Judas to realize the extent of his mistake. But one of the things I want to share with you is that I've never understood this part of the story. Why was Good Friday necessary? Because I don't believe in the traditional Catholic teaching. I don't believe in that. That's not where I come from. I'm an Interfaith Minister. And I said there has to be a universal aspect to this teaching. It can't just be for one particular faith. There has to be something that is a universal lesson here. And this idea of dying for our sins throughout all eternity, again, it just never made sense. And maybe I'm too logical of a person, but it just didn't make any sense to me. And luckily for me, because I have a beautiful connection with Mother Mary, very often the Christ vibration will come when Mother Mary comes, because they very much come as a pair. And he shared with me some of his insights, some of the teaching, I should say, for my own insight. And one of the things that he shared with me was that everything that he went through, and let's go over some of the things that he went through. First of all, being misunderstood by those closest to him. After having spent 3 years with them, they still don't understand him. The night that he asks them, please stay up with me, they can't do it. They don't have the fortitude to do it. They don't understand the gravity of what he's asking. So again, he feels completely alone. He knows what's coming for him, and he asks, please, don't make it so that I have to go down this road. But then again, he ends up saying, if that's your will, okay, that's your will. And then what happens? One of his closest disciples betrays him, doesn't trust him and in his vision, and turns him over to the authorities, thinking that he knows better. So he experiences the energy of betrayal. And then he's falsely accused with people that don't understand him. He's falsely accused. And from that false accusation by his own people, the people that he's supposed to be there to serve, he's turned over to the Romans. He's turned over to the government, because the politicians that turn him over don't have the authority to do what they want to do, which is to kill him. So then the Romans have authority over him, and they can't find that he's done anything wrong, not knowing what to do. What does Pontius Pilate do? Well, he doesn't want to kill somebody who's innocent. He turns it over to the crowd, the same crowd that just days before were cheering him, are now yelling, crucify, crucify, crucify. And so what ends up happening? He is tortured. So he experiences public humiliation, physical humiliation, incredible pain. He's mocked, and he's made to carry his own cross through the streets. And again, the streets that were cheering for him, now cursing his name. And then, even among all of this, he ends up going through a painful, painful execution. And still on that cross, people not believing him, calling him names. And on that cross, he asks for forgiveness, not for himself, but for those who are doing this, and saying, Father, forgive them, that they know not what they are doing. And then, in a very short period of time, he dies on that cross. And he's taken down, and his body given to his mother, who was weeping for him. And he's laid in a borrowed tomb, because it's the night of the Sabbath, and they have to get him in there before the sun goes down. And then the next day is Holy Saturday. In the meantime, all of his followers, except for John and his mother and Mary Magdalene and the other Mary, I can't remember what her name is, They're all at the foot of the cross, but the other disciples, his closest friends, have all abandoned him. So here we have the energy of Holy Saturday. Confusion. What you believed in before, the old way, is no longer. It has come and it is gone. And we have not yet reached the holy energy and the miracle of Easter Sunday. And so many of us find ourselves in this position, the Holy Saturday vibration, where you've been through something horrific. You've been through something that you don't know how you're ever going to get to the other side of. You've been through something that's challenged everything in you. And what do? They gather together. And they gather with Mother Mary, which is the wisest thing you can do. You could draw together and you pray and you review what you know to be the truth, despite what you're seeing on the outside. Something that we all need to be doing right now is adhering to what we know to be the truth and not listening to what people are telling us or judging on the outside. We need to be holding that we are a day away from a miracle. We're a day away from a resurrection. We are a day away from a brand new life. So when I asked Christ, I said, what was this all about? This humiliation, this betrayal, this physical pain, this crucifixion, what was this about on a universal level? And he told me that the purpose of it was to help each and every one of us see that everything that we're afraid of, that everything our mind tells us, that our ego tells us, we need to guard against with all the energy that we have. Everything that we make decisions from fear. He lived through our worst nightmares. Why? To show us none of it is real. Come Sunday morning, there he is, resurrected, not touched by any of it. This is the same person who said, doesn't it say in the Testament that ye are gods? This is the same person that said, even greater things will you do. Even greater things will you do. So take that in for a moment, that this person who went through all of that and came out on the other side, resurrected, is the one who tells all of us that we're going to do greater things than even he did. So I believe that the metaphysical meaning and purpose of Holy Week is to show us what the spiritual path is about. That one by one, we will overcome our fears. They may not be as drastic as the ones that he overcame. Maybe because he overcame them, we don't need to overcome them at that level. But maybe we need to overcome our fear of abandonment or our fear of being misunderstood. What is it that might be holding you back from really stepping into the truth of who you are? Think about that. And if you're in a Holy Saturday energy in your life, which many of us are, and I think we go through this Holy Saturday energy over and over again in our lives, where something old is dying away, something new is yet to be born, and we're kind of in the hallway between these two doors. This door has closed, and this door is not open, and we're in the hallway. And it can be pretty tough in that hallway. So what do? You gather. You connect with Mother Mary or whatever you believe in. You fortify yourself. You remind yourself what was foretold about that other door, that something better is on the other side of all of this, no matter what it is. Now, how do I know that? Because you could say to me, well, that hasn't always been my experience. How I know that is because if you go to the book of Genesis, it's a God-given gift that we have. God gave Adam the ability to name everything. And you might think that means I'm going to call that a horse, and I'm going to call that a tree, and I'm going to call this a frog. And on a very mundane level, It does mean that, but it also means that you have the power of decision, and you can decide whether something is good or bad. You get to name it. So if you're in the hallway between the thing that is falling away or the thing that has already stopped being important in your life, or this thing has come to an end, and the thing that you're moving towards has not fully manifested, this door has not yet opened, the thing to do is, in your mind, keep blessing that door and keep being grateful that that door is opening, and it's going to bless you even more. It's really important that you do that and you hold to that energy. And again, if you're not someone that connects with Mother Mary's energy, maybe you connect with Mary Magdalene's energy. Maybe you connect with Yogananda's energy. Maybe you connect with Moses's energy. Doesn't matter what energy you connect with. It's all the same energy, just in different manifestations for different time periods. Connect in with the vibration that matters to you, that speaks to you, and be grateful for that door. That's the Easter Sunday door. That's the door of miracles. Bless that door and be grateful for your miracle now. And then, as Mary Magdalene found, when you go first thing Easter morning and you're there ready and willing to be of service, you will be the first one to witness the light that morning. You will be the first one to witness that resurrection energy, that energy that tells you all things are possible. All things are possible. Not some things, not only on Tuesdays, all things at all times. And remember, it's not me telling you this. This is the energy of the one who met all of our fears and is victorious over each and every one of them. And our ultimate fear, the fear of death, transcended that as well, transcended all of those things. He said to you that you're going to do even greater things than that. That's why I say to you, my friends, you're on the path of magnifying your miracles. It's something that's already within you. You have the ability to be a miracle magnifier. Oh, thank you so much for letting me share some of these insights with you. I hope these words bless you abundantly. And remember that the key to magnifying those miracles, just as we said today, is to remember that your miracle is already here. Thank you so much. God bless you. Bye-bye.